everyone, and welcome to the Joyful Breeze podcast. I am Sue Exner, also known as the Joyful Breeze. And today, this has been in the works for a while, and I'm super excited to have this conversation today. I'm joined by a friend of mine, Candace, and another friend of mine, Vicki. And there's something that we all have in common, and that is the hush word of whether it's perimenopause or menopause. And Candace and I think you did a post. There was something that you did around menopause. And I was like, wait a second, she's going through what I'm going through, right?
Yes.
And because menopause is not talked about. When I say menopause, I also mean perimenopause. Like, to me, it's all in one, even though the symptoms probably are different. And then Vicki, we've been friends for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you work in the health industry. You're a nurse. And what really intrigued me about you was you started coming out and started talking about, hey, what about this? Or why aren't we talking about this? And you even started your own Facebook group, right? The Pause?
Yep.
The Pause,
Hip
right?
Pause.
Hip
Yep.
Pause. And I think it's really interesting to me how more and more people are becoming more vocal when it comes to what they're feeling, how they're feeling, and, following so many different, I brought books, and I think we all know Dr. Mary.
Yes.
Dr. Mary Claire,
Yes.
who's an OBGYN, with her thing. But at the end of the day, no matter how many books you read, no matter how many podcasts you listen to, everybody is different.
Yes.
Your symptoms are going to differ from mine, and vice versa. So today, what I wanted to do was just talk about your experience, what you've gone through, anything that other women can maybe pick up from, and really create an environment where it's okay to talk about this stuff. So I'm going to just throw it over to Candace and just tell me, when, I guess a question I have is, when was the first time you noticed something off, or your first symptom, and you kind of thought, oh shit, what was this, right? So just start there.
Sure. So I would say it was in January of 2020. So I had just turned 44, and we were actually in Hawaii, and we landed in Maui, and my husband went to get the car, and I'm standing there at the baggage carousel, and I'm like, wow, I'm just completely soaked. I'm sweating. Oh my goodness. It is it must just be extra humid in here, right? And I didn't really think anything of it. But then for the 2 weeks that we were in Maui, I kept getting hot flashes and night sweats.
Did you know it was a hot flash?
No, the first time I didn't, right? But then as they started to continue to come, I was like, okay, something's going on here, right? And so my husband at first didn't believe me. He's like, oh, you're fine, right? Because I think that's a lot of what happens with menopause. It's our moms and our grandmas and people before us never talked about it because there's so much shame and stigma. And so, there's a lot of it is just it's just a fact of life and you just need to deal with it. And so when I got back after that, I was like, okay, I need to dig in. I need to do a bit of research. I'm trying to find out, what can I do? What are all the things? And that was really where my journey started. I can say now that I've become a bit more educated in my own personal experience and talking to other people that there was probably signs and symptoms before that. But I think that one of the most common symptoms that a lot of women go through and experience is the hot flashes and the night sweats.
When you say symptoms, and I think this is the thing, people don't realize what a woman goes through when it comes time for menopause, right. Perimenopause and menopause. And you mentioned hot flashes. I haven't had hot flashes. I've maybe had one hot flash. That hasn't been my symptoms, right? But that's where it doesn't matter who or what you are, it's going to affect you differently. What were some of your symptoms that you've had?
Oh my gosh, so many. But probably the first thing that I noticed that got me thinking was trouble sleeping. Never have had trouble in my life sleeping. And then all of a sudden, I was taking Benadryl. This is what I put on my group post. I kind of was logging my story because so much of it was, I discovered in retrospect, all those things. But yeah, it was the sleep initially where, taking Benadryl. And now I'm taking Benadryl all the time to sleep. Okay, there's something wrong here. And then amongst that, I had a night that I woke up in just a full-on panic attack, like 2 a.m, just right out of sleep. Can't breathe, having to count myself down. Like, what is this? What's going on? Okay, I'm having a panic attack. And that was kind of the start of, all right. And then retrospect, yeah, like when you talk about hot flashes, I never really had hot flashes, but I was baseline hot, like all the time for years previous. And the more I look back at other things that were going on, I am sure that a lot of things had started in my probably early 40s, mid 40s.
Yeah.
You know, I had random like joint pain, swollen joints, and I was referred to a rheumatologist, didn't really turn into anything.
And you sort of go down this like path of trying to find out what's wrong with you, and no one knows.
Right.
No one knows. And then people start thinking like you're just making it up. And it's like, well, no, like if anything, like I've become very in tune with my body and I know like something. So this is like full bar transparency. I don't like it's, TMI.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
But like even today, like I woke up this morning and I have major headache. I'm bloated. I have cramps and I don't know why I have cramps. And I'm like, what is going on? Like it's like constant, but yet we still need to show up with a smile on our face, even though our pants are fitting tighter. We still need to, rah, 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 get the house going, all that kind of stuff. There's so many expectations. You're not allowed a day off. And that's hard. And I think that's where I've struggled the most is that people don't understand some of these changes that you're going through. And people are so quick to judge and not grant grace.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So, because that's what I'm finding. Like I've been on progesterone since before Blake. So Blake's 16, 17. So I actually went down to Texas to see a doctor because I couldn't get pregnant. And so I went down, got on progesterone and stayed on progesterone and got pregnant with Blake, stayed on, and I've been on it ever since.
Wow.
But I've started coming off progesterone because I did my blood tests. And I know hormone tests aren't all legit, whatever, but I use it as a guide. And my estrogen was 0.03. I have no estrogen, but my progesterone was over 8. And I was like, whoa, okay. And so through a naturopath and stuff, like started to work that out. But coming off progesterone, that's been a challenge. And, I had a really irritable time period, which affected, kind of folded over into work, which wasn't really great. And for me, because of this whole joyful breeze, I'm like, I want to uplift people. And I was coming in, I was a bitch. Like, I'll fully admit it, But it was like, look in the mirror and it's like, wait a second, this isn't me. This is something going on with my body. So in terms of the symptoms, like what have you been able to do to manage some of the symptoms that you've been experiencing? Do you have any tips or tricks?
Yeah, so I think it's just starting to really notice, right? And so I started just to write a bunch of things down. And I really just, starting to pay attention, like you said, to your body and just be in tune. And so what I did, because I'm a fact finder, is I did a little bit of my own research, right? And I actually started.
Candace is an amazing fact finder. Like she knows a lot.
I try. And so, because I really wanted to try to understand why is this happening, right? And it can't just be me, right? And so then through that, once I, started to understand what menopause and the spectrum and the differences is, then I actually reached out, and because my hairdresser, who's amazing, she had told me about the Midlife Women's Clinic here in Regina. And I'm like, hey, tell me more. Like, who is this? Like, what is it, right? And there is a nurse practitioner there who specializes in supporting women going through menopause. And I have to say, she has been an angel in disguise for me. And just going to her and having the ability to just be heard, somebody who understands it, somebody who's been trained in it. She really, helped me through it. So I did start more on a natural method. So seed cycling and, and things like that too. And, intermittent fasting and, trying to just.
I'm going to pause you there. What is seed cycling?
Oh,
because people might not know it. I know what it is, but.
So seed cycling. Oh, and you're good. I will not remember exactly how it all worked, but it's taking different types of seeds.
Yeah, so I think it's flax and pumpkin seed. You take 1 to 2 tablespoons for your first 2 weeks, and then sesame and sunflower seeds for the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you know.
Yeah.
And then it was
I
this
did
like
it too.
superpower
Yeah.
smoothie, which was awesome, right? And it did work for a while until it didn't. And then I had to go back and I had to say, okay, like what I was doing, you know, seemed to work, and I seemed to have a bit of relief. I seemed to have less brain fog, less, you know, hot flashes and night sweats. But then it got to the point where I was just starting to experience even more things like dry, itchy skin, like you name it. There's the spectrum as your slide had. And so then we sort of went to phase 2. So her and I kind of had this plan. And then we went to phase 2, and I actually ended up going on a low dose birth control. And so I started on Lolo, and I have probably been on birth control longer in menopause than I was before, which is kind of funny.
That is so interesting. I didn't know that, Candace, because I didn't realize you could go on birth control for menopause.
Yes. So I went on Lolo in 2021, and that was kind of where I had a bit of a I don't want to call it a midlife crisis, but a bit of a breakdown, because I was experiencing like 14 to 16 hot flashes a day.
Oh my gosh, Candace.
Including night sweats. So combine that together, because I was trying to track them. So you can imagine you're not sleeping. Your resiliency tank is at an all-time low. It's also, do I dare say the word pandemic? You're working from home, lots of different stresses, different pressures. I got to the point where I was on the phone with my leader at the time, and I was just beside myself. Like I couldn't stop crying. And I basically said to her, I can't do this anymore. And it was in that moment that she said to me, it's okay, like do what you need to do. And I seriously had thoughts of stepping back from my leadership role at work, because I thought that I just wasn't cut out for it. I just couldn't do it. And you know, luckily I didn't, but it was great to have the support at work and the support of my husband too, who basically came and said, you know what, you're not a quitter. We can get through this.
Yeah.
And so that was at the point that when I picked up the phone, I called back to my nurse practitioner, and then I started on Lolo. And I got a lot of relief from it. And I know that some people find it and, you know, and some people don't. And so that was a game changer for me for about 3 and a bit years. And then in December, things started to change again. My hot flashes, my night sweats, the changes in just, you know, feeling more muscle and joint pain and all sorts of things started to really become noticeable. So then I went back again and I said, okay, what's our next option, right? And so I'm 49. And so we did a bunch of blood tests again and again. Like you said, sometimes you can't really tell a lot, but we just happened to hit it at the right time. And she said, yeah, so results are in. The good news is your estrogen and progesterone are in the tanker, right? So, but that gives us something to work with. So then I basically started to basically transition off of Lolo and started on estradiol, excuse me, and progesterone as well. And so I was doing that on the lowest dose, and then we've had to adjust my dose a couple times, but kind of give it a couple months, 2 or 3 months. And so now I am on the bioidentical estrogen Divi gel, and so I do that in the morning, and I'm on the 1 milligram, and then I take progesterone at night. And because we've upped my estradiol, we also had to up my progesterone. So just working through that as well, and it has been helping. And but I've only been doing it for the last 5 or 6 months. So I think in addition to sort of the medical side of some of the things that I'm doing, I think a big change is just mindset. I think, you know, changing your mindset from not focusing on the symptoms of what's happening to you to really focusing on what can I do for my brain, bone, and heart health. And so that has been a game changer for me as well. So it's less about what I'm experiencing and more about preventative. So what can I do today to prevent myself from getting osteoporosis or, you know, different heart disease or, you know, or things like that too. So that's been a work in progress. I started off symptoms, what can I do to manage it? And now it's like, okay, well, what are the foods I should eat? You know, how much protein do I need to get in a day and things
And
like that.
I think that's the key thing, because like I'm a control freak, and I fully admit that I'm a control freak. And when I can't control this, that's when I start going sideways.
Right.
And so I always go back to be like, okay, what can I control? And I can control what I eat. I control my exercise. I control my thoughts. And that's really what you can do. And you just have to wait it out, and just tomorrow will be a better day, or tomorrow I'll have less symptoms. And it's funny because like, I don't know how many years I would like, while we were trying to like get pregnant with Blake, I'd be like, oh crap, got my period, I'm not pregnant, you know. And now I'm finding like, oh my God, I ovulated. Oh, when is this going to be over? Like, I just want to be done, you know? So, okay. So Vic, with you, what I'm really curious about is the medical side of things. So you work in the medical industry, and do you have similar stories? Like, you know, Dr. Mary Claire, she always says like, they didn't teach us this in medicine school. And so from a nurse mindset, how are you coming at this? And what do you think some of the downfalls are in our medical industry?
Well, that's exactly the thing. I was surprised when you said there's someone in Regina who's kind of running like a clinic, because in researching all this stuff, I thought, you know, that is a huge gap that I would love nothing more than to be able to, you know, run a clinic, have a physician on board who specializes, multidisciplinary, you know, where women have a place to come, because yeah, you hear it in all the podcasts, and a lot of them are American, but it applies here for sure.
Right.
They're not trained, right? Like they only get bits and pieces of a whole lot of things when they're trained. And I think just from our perspectives with our own doctors, they don't know a lot, right? Like you have to become your own expert and understand what's going on and really advocate for yourself. And, you know, another real shortfall with our system is a lot of doctors only allow one complaint per visit. Like I hear that all the time. They're not all like that, but lots of them, because of the time crunch, right? Like we have a great healthcare system, but there's a lot of downfalls. So,
and I would say I would agree with that, because I would say, you know, I sometimes flip back between Western medicine and Chinese medicine. And I've definitely swayed more over to natural healing and anything I can do naturally.
Yeah.
But Western is obviously still important. Like we need that medical, that medical assistance, if you will.
Yeah.
But I remember going in to see my doctor once, and he said, like, this is after I had Blake and stuff. And he said, like, how long are you going to be on progesterone for? Like, you need to get off this. And I was like, what?
He asked you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, what? Like, and you know what? I tried to go off progesterone, and I went into immediate like anxiety, panic attacks. And I was like, I can't come off this. And so I too have been to Brownstone and saw her, and it was good. But I think for me, I was already at a point where I have established a pretty strong partnership with my naturopath.
Yeah.
And so my naturopath, like because I went to Brownstone, and kind of I had all my tests done already, like everything, right? And she told me about the seed cycling, and I introduced that.
Yeah.
And when I went back to my naturopath, so Julie Zeff is my naturopath. Julie, you're amazing. I love you. But I told Julie, I said, like, I feel like I kind of was like cheating on you because I went to someone else. And she said, no, Sue, you have to determine who you want at your table.
Right.
And that struck a chord with me. I was like, wow, okay. To me, that is a responsible response because she's not saying, yeah, why did you go to her? Like, you shouldn't have gone, or, she contradicts what I'm saying. No, wasn't that at all.
Right.
So I think my key message and what I'm learning is know who you want at your table.
Right.
I have a naturopath. I have an acupuncturist. I go for massage. Like there's people that are at my table that help me, right?
Multidisciplinary.
Right.
Multidisciplinary,
That's
right?
the key.
And I think like even like talking, and honestly, you guys, like I don't even see this being a one-time session. Like I think we need to come up with a name, whether it's the Pause Gals or something. Like we need to come up with a name because I think it's important to connect. Like I see more and more people coming out, and maybe it's like we get a group of women together and just have a bigger round table, right? But it's talking because I absolutely feared menopause growing up. Absolutely feared it. Like my mom, I don't even remember my mom going through it. I think she smoked her way through it, honestly. But like it never was a discussion. Like we really didn't discuss it.
Shame.
It is like, and I don't want my daughter to fear menopause.
Yes.
And so interesting. I don't know if you guys watched that Oprah special where she had all the celebrities and stuff on talking about menopause. And I put it on, and it just so happened that the two men in my house had to go to the bathroom or had to go downstairs to play video games, right? And afterwards, like I said to Eric, no, I want you to watch this.
Yes.
Like it's something that I think, so EJ, you are getting a full load today, man. Like you are. But I want men to understand like what we're going through.
Agreed.
Because in that segment with Oprah, they talked about, there was one person in the audience that talked about divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up getting divorced because the husband couldn't understand how much she had changed and what was going on. And divorce rates actually do increase at this age, right? And it's like, wow, okay, like that's alarming.
Yeah. I think it definitely is important to acknowledge your family members and you know your husbands or partners, because from my own lived experience, my husband at first like, oh, you're fine, right? Like my mom went through it. And I'm like, yeah, like my mom went through it too, but she never talked about it. In fact, I asked my mom, I'm like, how was menopause for you? She's like, it was fine. I just dealt with it. And I'm like, hell to the no. Am I just going to deal with this? Like, this is like no way to live. But now over the years, my husband, who works in health and benefits consulting, he openly speaks about his experience as a husband supporting his wife who's been going through menopause.
Let's get him on here.
Which is awesome, right?
It is awesome.
And, you know, just to hear him speak about, you know, him maybe not realizing at the start, right? And underestimating the impact that it was also going to have on him and just our relationship and things like that too. So I think it is super important. And that's kind of been one of the driving forces, similar to you having a daughter. I have 2 stepdaughters as well. And that's been a driving force for me to want to speak up and share my experience, knowing everyone's is going to be different, but just helping people feel that they're not alone, and also wanting to advocate so that when our daughters or our nieces or any of the females in our lives are going through this, that once they reach this point, they feel empowered versus feeling like they need to hide it. Exactly.
And
Knowledge
educated.
is power.
Knowledge is power. Well, and it's funny. So at work, so Candace and I work together, and we created, well, actually Jamie is the one that created this perimenopause support group, PMS support group. So it's a little Teams chat. And then it's just a bunch of women that are on there, and we share things. And so one of the posts that was shared was about weighted vests. And I feel like I'm up to date with things, but I'm like, what the hell is a weighted vest? Like, where did this come? So I'm like, what are you guys talking about? What is this? And so then you guys are back and forth about a weighted vest. And so this is the new thing, is wearing a weighted vest. So this is okay. Is that one that you can add weight to and take weight out? Okay, so I need that one.
Yes. So there's so many different kinds. Again, I am not an expert, and this is something that, and there's different versions. This version goes over this version goes over your head.
Let me put it on.
And
You're wearing a pretty brooch.
This
is heavy.
It's 20 pounds. If you have all of the weights in, that's at 17 pounds.
Watch
so the
your
vest
hair.
alone is 11. Yeah. And then there's 1.5 pound weights that you add to the front or the back.
So here.
Yeah. Totally.
See, okay. So the funny thing about this is heavy. So the benefits of this weighted vest is supposed to be to help with bone density, increase your workout, like burn your calories while you work or whatever. So after this session or this chat, I'm like, I said to Eric, I need to find a weighted vest. So I went to Amazon because I think Stacy told me she got hers at Amazon. So I went to Amazon and I ordered a 12-pound vest. Well, I got the vest and I have a bad back and I have a sore neck. And so I put this, that's why this is like holy
heavy.
crap.
Yeah.
But I put the 12-pound on and I'm like, I can't walk with this on. This is way too heavy. And Blake put it on and he's like, what are you talking about, Mom? It's fine. So anyways, Blake's going to use the 12-pound and I want to get one like a lighter. I think I need to start lighter. And that's a thing. It's just, if this works for you, but this won't work for me because this is going to cause me more headaches or whatever, right? Like with my back. So it doesn't, even though it's the latest fad, doesn't mean it's a quick fix. Right.
Totally.
So, but yeah, so I'm going to take this off now.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Don't put the camera on me. I got to take my glasses off.
Well, and I think too, just like the big switch for a lot of us women who are going through the phase of menopause, perimenopause, and those types of things is that a lot of us grew up in, where body image and we had to be skinny and you had to do all the cardio and cardio was like the way to go. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's a shift too in our mindset in menopause that weight training and strength training is so much more important because we are as your hormones shift and shuffle and you're losing estrogen or progesterone and everything in your body, it's just causing that bone density to get less and less. So you need to do the things to lift weights, and it's not super light weights. It's challenging yourself and, lifting those heavier weights. I had listened to a different podcast and they're challenge yourself to only do 6 to 8 reps of a heavy weight versus doing 20 of a lightweight, right? And 2 to 3 times a week, right? Not every single day, and gradually work your way up to that as well. Cardio is still important, but it's obviously
not as important. Yeah. And that's what that's right now the sort of the program that I'm on. I didn't realize how much stress cardio can put on your body. You think okay, I'm going to go for a run. This is awesome. But because your body, your adrenal glands are fatigued and, if your liver's not functioning properly, it's all connected that it's actually doing more harm than good. And so now I try to walk the 10,000 steps a day or whatnot. It's way easier in the spring and summer here than in winter. But then the other thing that I've done more of is yoga nidra.
Oh.
So I don't know if you guys have done yoga nidra, but it's so her name's Allie. I don't know her last name. Wally Lloyd or something. Google Allie yoga nidra and it will come up. And there's different sessions, 20 to 30 minutes. There's an hour or 2 hours. But when I'm feeling stressed or if I'm just because for me, my main symptom is dizziness. I got vertigo. I got and that's caused me PTSD because right away I'm well, wait, what's going on? Right. And so as soon as I get anxiety or if I'm feeling really tired or stressed or anything like that, I'll go lay on the couch and I put that 30-minute video on and it's amazing. She even says this is a combined treatment of acupuncture and a massage. Oh. And I would say, so try it. So go home. So try it. Try the yoga nidra. It really, really works.
Nice.
So little tidbits. See, that's what this is for.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I just wanted to sort of conclude. Okay. One thing you wish people knew about menopause. If there's one thing today that you would want people to walk away with, what would it be?
I would say that a lot of the symptoms are fleeting or they're short term. And I think if you can know that well in advance, it just makes it a little easier. When something's happening, okay, this might be a thing. Had I known back that this joint pain was one of the symptoms, I wouldn't have been freaking out oh my God, do I have lupus? Do I have...
That's me. As soon as something goes wrong, I'm do I have a brain tumor? Do I have this? Do I have that? Yeah. But it's just not jumping.
That's right.
To the worst case scenario.
Just be calm. And again, it's about knowing the knowledge of it, right? When we were talking about young people and spouses understanding, when I started this Facebook group, and I added my girls to the group and they said, well, Mom, why would you put us in this group. Said, because this is important. They're 23, 22, and 16. Said, I know none of it necessarily applies now, but you need this knowledge because when things start happening, then you'll know. And also, the earlier you can start the strengthening, all those things, it's just having the knowledge and knowing that.
It's being proactive.
Right.
Yes. Right.
And there's a whole element of people going into premature.
Right. Super early in their 30s.
Like they call it ovarian failure, whatever it is, but where even in their 30s, like there's, and it's very easy for even doctors to dismiss that kind of thing because the first thing is to check your hormone levels. And one snapshot of a hormone level isn't going to tell you a whole lot, but they're inclined to say, well, it's not that. So, whatever.
And it depends what hormone levels they actually check.
Right.
Because I've had to pay for my hormone tests. Like the ones that I want, I've had to pay. So I've probably invested at least like $2,000 to $3,000 in different tests. Sorry, Eric. You're hearing this right now. But no, Eric's very supportive. I'm very, very blessed to have Eric as a husband and a partner. But $2,000 to $3,000 in terms of what's not covered. And you just told me, Candace just put on our chat the other day that Brownstone Health, that is covered through the health benefits, but there's a special letter that you have to fill out. And so if it wasn't for someone like Candace who's saying, hey, ladies, you can go get this and it's covered, like I paid for that out of pocket. That's why I said, I'm like, will this be covered from last year? But I don't think so. I don't think that would work. But what about you? What's one thing, a stigma that because you did talk about stigma.
Yeah. So I would say one thing that I wish people knew is that once you're in menopause, you're always in menopause. And I think that's important because it is something that you need to pay attention to. It's not something that's going away. So either you're you're peri, and menopause is just a one-day event. It's the 12-month anniversary of your last period. And then after that, you're in post-menopause. So, and we are a generation that could technically live for another 50 years, right? Like living to 100 isn't going to be that difficult, right? With modern medicine and just the ways that people are taking care of themselves these days. So I think it's super important to really not brush it off, to pay attention and to start to do things now that are going to help you, be able to keep up with your grandkids or your your great grandkids and your family, and to maybe protect your brain, bone, and heart health, because it's not going away and you're going to go through the phases. But once you're there, you're always there. And don't look at it as a sentence, right? Of like, oh, poor me. Just know that the majority of females are going to go through this. Know that you're not alone. Know that you're not losing your mind and you're not crazy. You're just going through menopause, and it's a natural part of life.
And I think it goes back to your point about mindset, because sometimes I often remind myself, like, aging is a gift.
Right.
There's a lot of people that do not get to age. And even though it sucks sometimes, and, the sagging skin or whatever it is, like, it's just like, but it's really taking a look in your mirror. And this is like, we could talk a whole nother session on this in terms of the voice in the head, the negative self-talk, all that kind of stuff. Because I know for myself, like, I look at pictures of myself in the past, and at that time when I had those pictures taken, I beat myself up.
Yes.
Like, I could have looked better. Or why didn't I do this? And even right now, I'm trying to say to myself, like, just appreciate what you have right now, because I'm healthy. I have a beautiful family, and I'm doing a podcast, people. Awesome. So it's that mindset, which is a whole nother session, which this could be turned into like a therapy session, right? Okay, we're going to end with rapid fire question on perimenopause, but I want to play too, because I want to play too. Okay, one symptom you were not prepared for.
Oh my gosh, rapid fire.
I know this is hard with perimenopause or menopause, because our brains don't think as fast as they used to. So
really gotta. Again, this was a retrospect thing, learning later on, but I would say like libido and the effects on the whole female, all the things that can happen down there.
Yeah.
I would say I didn't realize it at the time what it was, but knowing now, that was like, oh.
Yeah. and that's a whole nother section.
Yeah.
It could have changed a whole lot. Yeah. Anyways, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
So for me, I'd say, the importance of pelvic floor health.
Yeah.
Not only when you're having children, I didn't birth any children. I have 3 amazing stepkids, but just how important pelvic floor health is throughout your entire life and how important it is to take care of it and the things that you need to do.
I think one symptom I was not prepared for was like the dizziness. Like that really threw me. And then, but all these other little things like dry eyes.
Yes.
Like I got my eyes checked and she's like, your eyes are really dry. I'm like, what? Like, so just the little things that you really don't, like I expect cramping and all that kind of stuff. It's the other stuff I didn't expect. Okay. Night sweats, cozy PJs or fans everywhere.
Fans everywhere.
Yes. I don't get them anymore. So I'm like, I am cozy PJs then.
Cozy PJs, yeah. I don't get, like, which some nights, one night I did have, and I woke up and I was sweating and I was like, what is this? I'm like, I think I just had a hot flash or a night sweat. Finish this sentence. Perimenopause is.
A natural part of life.
Nice.
I'm going to say, I don't know if revolutionary is maybe more of like an awakening.
Yes.
Like it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I would say perimenopause is not the end of the world.
Yes.
Right? Like it's not the end of the world. I think we answered that one already. Best excuse you've used to get out of something thanks to perimenopause.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's tough.
That's a tough one. I honestly don't know if I've ever used perimenopause to get out of something.
Yeah, I don't
No.
think that I have.
Like I really don't. Okay, let's skip that one.
Well,
Okay.
and just, just something that came to mind, and this wasn't an excuse, but I just think about some of the women and, like once you start to think about all the symptoms and all the things that some people experience, and like there are women who experience like a period for like 30 days straight and they can't go to work and they can't like leave their house. Like, I don't think that's, an excuse, but
No.
it is part of that. And that's why too, I think like us talking about it, some of those women, hopefully we can help them so that their employer isn't like, oh, like you're sick again while like you can't come to work. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I just want to add quickly, because I come from a bit of a unique perspective. I had a hysterectomy.
Oh.
So I haven't, and that was years ago. That was probably 2010, in the year or two after my third kid. So I never had a period to even gauge.
Right.
So just an extra thing for
There's
those
lots of women out there.
the
Yeah.
Well,
uterus.
and, another friend of mine, she had a frozen shoulder.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
that was,
I had that.
You
Yeah.
had frozen shoulder too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I was like, what's a frozen shoulder? Like it's all these
Common,
things that don't, Okay, last question. If perimenopause or menopause were a song, because you guys know I love to sing, what would it be called?
Sue, this isn't rapid fire. I need
I know.
time for this.
Should have sent these to us in advance.
No, because that's the beauty of like what comes to mind. I honestly, what came to mind, like it was just "Bye Bye Bye," like from NSYNC. Like it doesn't have to be like made up, but like if a song that you know of today. That's how I viewed it. Like "Bye Bye Bye." Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? I think the point you made is really valid, is that even though you hit menopause, you're still in menopause.
Right.
And that's a good perspective and way of looking at it. I've never looked at it that way before.
Yeah.
Because I keep thinking, when am I done?
Yeah.
When am I going to be done?
Right.
But if you're never going to be done,
Yeah.
then it's just embrace it and learn along the way, right? So we brought some books. So The New Menopause is a great one. Galveston Diet is another one by Mary Claire that, you can read. If anybody wants these and you live by me, you're welcome to borrow them. And then my Western doctor actually recommended this one, The Menopause Manifesto. And she said every woman should read this. So again, it's getting bits and pieces of information where you can, and then apply it the way that makes sense for your body, right? And don't be afraid to talk about it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anyways, any last comments? Anything else? We're wrapping up. I know we honestly could talk forever on
yeah,
this,
we
but
could. I think, too, just another great resource of information too is the Menopause Foundation of Canada. Fun fact there is it was started by women who couldn't find any information on menopause. So it was started by women like us, and there's a wealth of information there too. And I'd encourage you to check that out too.
love that. And I think as women, I really want like women to like lift each other up. And if you see someone like another, whether it's a colleague, whether it's a friend or something, and they're struggling or they don't seem like themselves, like just reach out, ask them, hey, how are you today? How are things going today?
Yeah.
Because, there's so much negativity in this world. We just need a little bit more kindness.
Yes.
Sure.
That's where the Be the Breeze comes in. So in terms of the Be the Breeze, uplifting others with positivity, that's what I encourage all of you to do is just make someone smile today. And I know with you two, you guys have been amazing. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for listening.